Have you ever thought about how powerful your mind truly is? No, I'm not talking about the common things you hear everywhere, that we only use 10% of our brain, or that positive thinking can change everything. I'm talking about the deep, dangerous, and mysterious truths that can completely transform your life. But once you know them, you will never be the same again. Your mind is like a mysterious labyrinth with thousands of doors. Some of these doors can lead you to great heights, while others can push you into darkness. The question is, which door will you choose to open? The mind is not just a thinking machine, it is a source of energy. The more you understand it, the more it begins to control you. Did you know that when you focus entirely on something, your brain shuts out everything else? It disconnects from the entire world and works only to turn your focus into reality. This is called neuroplasticity. Your brain constantly changes, forms new connections, and molds itself according to the way you think. If you always complain, if you always see negativity around you, your brain builds patterns accordingly. You will see problems everywhere, and you will always feel frustrated. But if you change the way you think, your mind will begin to show you the world from a completely different perspective. This is not magic, this is science. Now think, if your brain is so powerful that it can change your entire perception of the world, what would happen if you took full control of it? The answer is simple: anything. You can do anything, become anything. But first, you need to understand some of the deepest and most dangerous truths about your mind. The first truth: your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It all depends on how you train it. People who do not control their negative thinking become their own biggest obstacles. They make excuses, accept their fears as reality, and trap themselves in chains of their own making. But those who train their minds turn their fears into their strengths. The second truth: your brain is influenced more by emotions than logic. This is why simply trying to reason with yourself is not always effective. But if you deeply feel something, if you immerse yourself in it with full energy and passion, your brain begins to accept it as truth. This is why visualization and emotional drive are so powerful. The world's greatest athletes, business leaders, and visionaries use this technique to achieve success. The third truth: your mind always wants to keep you in your comfort zone, but real growth happens outside of it. Every time you try to do something new, your brain generates fear. It tells you that you will fail, that people will laugh at you, that it's too risky. But this is exactly where you need to push forward. If you learn to fight this fear, you can turn the impossible into possible. Now, the big question: how do you control your mind? The first step is to take control of your thoughts. Every time a negative thought arises, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true, or is it just an illusion created by my brain? The second step: force your brain to adopt new habits. When you make small changes every day, your brain starts forming new pathways, and you gradually break free from old ways of thinking. The third step: do the opposite of what fear tells you to do. The thing that scares you the most is often the thing you need to do the most. If something terrifies you, understand that it is the very thing that will push you toward greatness. And finally, the most important step: train your brain to think bigger. When you think small, your brain limits itself to small possibilities. But when you dream big, your brain starts searching for ways to make those dreams a reality. Remember, your brain is a weapon that can shape your destiny. But the question is, will you learn to control it, or will you let it control you? If you have understood by now that your mind can be your greatest strength or your biggest weakness, the next question is, how will you direct it? Knowing is not enough. The real change happens when you apply it to your life. The first thing you must do is train your brain to believe in yourself. Whenever you attempt something new, your mind will try to scare you. It will remind you of past failures, make you doubt yourself, and try to convince you to stop. But this is just a test. Every time you stand against your fears, your brain starts forming new patterns. And once those patterns become strong, the very thing that seemed impossible to you will suddenly start to feel easy. This is why people who constantly challenge themselves become successful. They don't run from difficulties, they teach their minds to embrace challenges. You must do the same. Here's another powerful secret. Your brain is not shaped only by your thoughts, but also by your body language. When you slouch, walk lazily, and carry yourself with weak posture, your brain feels the same way. But when you stand tall, walk confidently, and change your body language, your mind begins to feel stronger. This means that even if you don't feel confident inside, act as if you are. Your brain will slowly start believing it. Another crucial step: delete the negative programming inside your mind. Your brain is like a supercomputer, and it operates based on the data that has been fed into it. If you have spent your entire life hearing things like, "You can't do it," "You're not good enough," or "Success is only for lucky people," then these thoughts are deeply ingrained in your mind. But here's the good news: you can change this programming. How? By feeding your mind new, powerful, and positive thoughts. Every single day, tell yourself, "I am capable, I am unstoppable, I can achieve whatever I desire." And don't just say these words, feel them, repeat them over and over until they become your reality. And now, the most dangerous truth: your brain will always try to keep you safe. It will resist change because its primary job is to keep you alive, not to make you great. But remember this: every great person has done one thing in common. They have broken past their mind's security system and stepped into the unknown. If you want to escape this trap, you must act despite fear. You must do what is difficult, what is uncertain, because that is where the real magic happens. Now, the ultimate question: are you ready for this? Are you ready to make your mind your servant instead of your master? Because the truth is, until you take control of your mind, it will control you. But the day you master it, your life will be in your hands. Now, the decision is yours. Will you harness the power of your mind, or will you let it go to waste?